Hi, I'm Trudy, fiction writer, recent retiree, and person about to turn 60, and this is a video about a hike. I don't consider myself an intrepid hiker. I do like to hike. I try to do a couple of hikes every summer. I'm not a person who does extremely long or punishing hikes. I don't feel the need to go to the top of mountains. I've never done an overnight backpacking hike and probably never will, but I do enjoy getting out on a trail from time to time. And it's occurred to me that hiking tends to be important to me at certain milestones in my life. For example, the summer that I turned 40, I spent a few days by myself on the Eastport Peninsula, working on a writing project, but also doing some long walks and attempting a hike that I now look back at and think, that was a really dumb hike to do by yourself and without telling anybody where you were going. It was along what I think is called the Old Trails, maybe the area that's also now called the Damnable Trail, between Salvage and Sandy Cove. And it was a very long, more than a half-day hike over a not very well-marked trail. And I did it. I think it was really important to me on the cusp of my 40th birthday to say, hey, even though I'm approaching midlife, I can take on big challenges and try new things, because I really hadn't done any hiking at all up to that point. It was about 10 years later that I started hiking the East Coast Trail in any kind of serious way. And this September, in a few weeks, I'm turning 60. And there is one hiking trail that has always been a bucket list item for me, and that is a trail that a lot of Newfoundlanders and a lot of tourists who come here also have on their bucket list. It's a trail called the Spout. Which has a very impressive natural feature at the end of it that people love to see. It's also a very long trail. If you do it the way that most people recommend, that is actually the least strenuous and most enjoyable, it's an in and out trail that's 12 kilometers each way. Now, I do a lot of hiking with my husband, Jason, who is a great adventure partner. We love to do things together. In many ways, Jason is much stronger and fitter than I am, but he got the bad knees. There is no way he's good, and he would say this too, for a hike over about 5K. I decided if I'm attempting the Spout, which I am, I need to take a younger person along. So I'm going to be attempting this hike with my daughter's partner, Violet, who is in her 20s and is going to be my emotional support young person, maybe my physical support person too. We're doing this starting tomorrow morning, and I will update this video as we attempt the hike, and if it's posted, then you'll know that I made it through the hike alive. Here we are at the beginning of the Spout Path. We're in Bay Bulls. Yeah, and I am here with, this is Violet, my hiking companion.
Hi.
Vi, I need to know, do you understand your responsibility in accompanying this almost 60-year-old woman on a long and strenuous hike? What's your responsibility?
Just make sure you get out. Like, if we get out, that's good.
Exactly.
That's the bar.
One way or another, we get out alive.
Yeah.
That is great, even if you have to drag my body the last 10K.
Just like everywhere on the East Coast Trail, the Spout hike features stunning scenery, and we enjoyed looking at that and taking pictures of that, mostly in the early part of the hike. Later part of the hike, the scenery remained stunning. We were not stopping to appreciate it as much for reasons that will become clear.
So we think about 4 kilometers into the trail, and we are at a beautiful spot with a babbling brook. I'm going to turn this way so you can also see the coastline behind us. I really want to get my feet in the water and get a little bit wet, but I'm afraid they won't dry out enough to put back in my socks, but it's a lovely breezy spot to stop. How are you doing, Vi?
I'm doing good. Feeling like my pack weight's good. Feet are a little sore, but I think we'll get through it.
Yeah, we're taking it pretty slow, lots of rest stops. We're not trying to break any speed records, but so far I think things are going well. We are now at a spot called the Turn of Bald Head, which feels like a little more than halfway, not quite 2/3 of the way to the Spout, and we are 3.5 hours into our hike. I'm slowing down because there's been a lot of climbing, there's a lot of ups and downs, and that takes it out of me, but let's find out how Vi is doing.
I am doing okay. Feet still hurt. Debating whether I should take off my shoes for a bit, but I'm feeling good and ready to hike.
Just so I don't get accused of only showing the good parts, I think we're still an hour or more out from the Spout. Vi's gone a little ways ahead of me. I've had to stop and rest. I am finding this part incredibly difficult. It's just so much elevation. Climb after climb after climb over rocks and rough trails. It's making me rethink our exit strategy for getting out of here. I'm okay on the levels, but I just find myself getting so tired, and not even just the soreness in my legs, although that's it, but just the tiredness and getting out of breath so easily as I hit hill after hill after hill. I feel like I've met my match on this trail. Right now, my best goal is not to get medevaced out of here. But if that's what it takes, I will. We had already made the call that we were not going to try to retrace our steps, but go back the Shoal Bay Road, which I thought was doable. But we are making I am making such slow progress. Vi is now carrying my pack for me. She keeps stopping to wait for me. I am having cramps in both my legs. I am short of breath every time we try to do a bit of an incline. And the joke about getting medevaced out of here, I am seriously considering using the emergency SOS function on my phone, which doesn't have any cell service otherwise, to see if there's any emergency help available on the trail, because I don't think I can go any further.
If you're approaching the Spout from the Bay Bulls End, then about half a kilometer before you actually get to the Spout, there's a wilderness campsite called Little Bald Head Campsite.
Vi, your job was to get me safely out. What are you going to do?
I'm going to go up the Shoal Access Road and keep checking cell service and call emergency services to pick you up here at the campsite.
Yep.
You got food, water. There seems to be some implements here to keep you warm if it gets cold out.
Yep.
There is a stream if that comes to that. Yeah, I just gotta...
You're gonna go rescue me and I'm gonna have a little adventure.
It's around 3:30 right now, and I'm reckoning I can hike the remaining 10 kilometers in about 3 hours if I haul ass.
Okay. Vi's been gone for about an hour now, and I have literally just been sitting here on the camping platform, walking around a little bit to try to stretch out my legs, enjoying the absolutely beautiful environment and some chipmunks and birds that are around. It's a great spot. And of course, thinking of things we could have done better, like brought at least a little stuff like a thermal blanket for camping overnight. But hey, as I've often thought, there's really no point in going back over things you could have done or should have done or would have done. You did what you did. I took into account how long people's accounts of doing the trail both ways took, and then I added several hours to that for the fact that, okay, I'm older, I'm slower, but we can still be out by dark. I did not take into account that I would reach a point where I was physically unable to climb the hills, and for the last couple of hours I was making about 1 kilometer an hour, which would not get me out before dark. So, you know, we made the best call we could. Maybe it wasn't perfect. I don't seriously believe anyone's going to come in on a search and rescue helicopter and get me out of here tonight. I don't think that's something they even could do. And also there are much bigger emergencies happening with wildfires all over the province. So I think the most likely thing is that I'm going to spend the night here on this campsite and hope some other hikers, or better yet, some other overnight campers come along and I can maybe borrow a blanket and a jacket or something like that. I think I'll be fine, and I think I'll be okay to walk out, if slowly, in the morning. But yeah, that's the way things are now. Right now, I'm still having an adventure. We'll see if that keeps up. I'm sitting here now by the genuine babbling brook that's going past the campsite. A couple of hikers just passed, and I told them my situation, said I was stranded out for the night, and asked if they had an extra jacket or hoodie. They did not. Said they were sorry, but they did say a couple more people were coming behind who looked like they had big packs with them. Best case scenario, those people are planning to camp here and we'll have an extra blanket, because I think just staying warm is going to be my main problem. The tarp that Vi found under the platform is not too bad, but I don't think it's going to be totally all I need when the sun goes down. So, really weird sequel to the couple who passed by. They said they were hiking on through and all they had was like shorts and t-shirts, and I said, no problem, I understand. And then like half an hour later, I noticed somebody's camping over on the other side of the site. So I'm like, oh good, maybe I can borrow something from them. I go over, it's the same people who I had told that I was stranded here for the night and said they had nothing and they were going right on. So when I realized it was them, I was already pretty close, and I was like, and they had a load of clothes hung up and everything. And I said, so you guys are camping here? You don't have anything to share? And Buddy was like, yeah, I have a long sleeve shirt you can borrow. So I said, okay, I'll return it in the morning before I leave. So I got his shirt, but man, that was a weird encounter. Anyway, it's almost 7 o'clock. I'm hoping Vi is out of the woods now and she's been able to contact somebody. I'm not expected to get rescued tonight. I'm going to spend the night here on the camping platform, but at least now I have Buddy's long sleeve shirt. Things are looking up, not rescue-wise, but warmth-wise. There's another pair of campers on the site now, and they were able to lend me a shirt and 2 emergency blankets, which is really going to be helpful. So I've never before slept inside one of these tinfoil emergency blankets. It's very like being wrapped in tinfoil, but I feel like it is going to keep me warm. So God bless those people on the next campsite. So it's the next morning, Wednesday morning, and you will notice I'm not still at the campsite. I will tell you that if you're thinking of sleeping on a wooden platform all night with inadequate clothing and 2 emergency blankets and a tarp, do not recommend. However, what I do recommend is having Rover Search and Rescue turn up at 2:30 in the morning and just come and bring warm clothes, sleeping bag, blankets, Tim Hortons donuts. These folks were fantastic. They stayed with me all night and then they helped me down to where we are now, which actually is the Spout. So I not only finally got to see the Spout, I got to see it at sunrise, and now we are just here waiting for the next part of the adventure, which is apparently going to involve a helicopter.
The Spout, which is a natural seawater geyser, is every bit as impressive as people say it is. It is an amazing thing to have seen. I don't know if it's as impressive as search and rescue people who will not only stay the night with you, but lead you by hand through the woods and tie up your bootlaces when you're so sore you can't even bend over to tie them up yourself. I could not have made that walk any further myself. It looks like I'm really happy in the scenes with the helicopter, and I am. Yes, because I'm getting out of there and going home. Yes, because I've never been in a helicopter before and it's cool, but mostly because they told me there was a good chance the helicopter wouldn't be able to land, and instead of going out in the helicopter, I would be flown over the coastline and over the trees in a sling dangling way below the helicopter. And I can't tell you, folks, how much I did not want to do that. So when you see me smiling in the helicopter pictures, it's mostly because I'm in the helicopter, not underneath it. So now that I'm back home, warm, safe, fed, and with my muscles starting to recover, I'm of course thinking about lessons learned from this really incredible and unexpected adventure. And I do think I have a couple of them very practical and some more philosophical. First of all, and this is a big one, although the search and rescue people and the helicopter people and everyone was fantastic, they are the best people on earth, I felt really guilty because there are wildfires burning all around this part and other parts of the province. And I knew that by having to rescue a stranded hiker, these people were diverting resources away from places where they were much more needed. A dumb hiker like me who's poorly prepared can make this kind of mistake and divert resources. Honestly, though, even an experienced hiker could fall and break their leg. In Nova Scotia, I just found out today, August 6th, the same day my adventure ended, that in the middle of a very bad wildfire season there, they have banned hiking, camping except at certain campsites, and ATVing on trails. And while I think it's terrible to have to do that temporarily, I kind of get it now. It does feel wrong to divert those resources from where they're much needed. So please think carefully before any outdoor activity. Number 2, specific for Newfoundlanders and visitors here, if you have heard about the Spout and you think I would like to visit that place, even if you have experience hiking, please research the trail because it is much harder than you think. The rescue people were saying the same thing. A lot of people get into trouble on that trail because they know how long it is, but they underestimate how difficult it is. And that was my problem. Number 3, optimism is a great quality, but it's not everything. I'm a very optimistic person. I always think I can do this and yeah, everything will work out. And it often does. But you cannot allow optimism to be a substitute for preparation and thinking about what if it doesn't work out? What if something goes wrong? How will I deal with that? The more you can do that in advance, the less likely you are to be spending the night shivering on a wooden platform in the woods in between 2 tinfoil blankets. Number 4,
bucket list items can be a bit overrated. Sure, it's great to have things that you want to do, whether it's before you die or whether it's just this summer, but you also got to be realistic. Not every item on your bucket list is going to get completed, and not everyone is a good idea. And sometimes you can say, hey, this would be a cool thing to do, like hiking into the Spout, but you know what? It's not for me. I'm not capable of doing this in my life the way things are right now. That's okay. The other thing, and this seems like a bit of a cheat after those 4 very important lessons that I absolutely am going to learn and apply, sometimes, number 5, the universe hands you presents that you do not deserve. There's no way I should have gotten to sit by the ocean for over an hour by sunrise watching the Spout after everything that happened, but I did, and it was beautiful and it was amazing. And all you can do when something like that happens, despite your own mistakes, is just say thank you and be grateful for it. And as I'm saying thank you to the first responders, and specifically to Rover Search and Rescue, who are volunteers, by the way. The work they do is amazing. They were so kind, so positive, so helpful. All first responders, big thanks. And big thanks personally to my hiking buddy, Vi. It's not a bad idea if you're an old person hiking to take an emotional support young person, and I hope if you do, they are as helpful and as kind and as thoughtful and as good in a crisis as Vi was. I'm very, very grateful. And of course, to all my family, who several of whom spent the night waiting out near the rescue command station for me to come safely out of the woods. Sorry I kept you up all night. Sorry for all the trouble I caused, but lessons have been learned, and it was an amazing experience.